I'm Taylor Oracle, and this is a reading for Li. Li wants to know, I want to leave my job after nearly 10 years for a part-time job paying a quarter less. I cannot afford it, but I'm so unhappy. I'm hoping my mom will give me some money for an early inheritance. Also, Li quotes a lot of different astrology stuff. So this is going to be sort of old school astrology, Hellenistic astrology. So we've removed Neptune and Pluto and things like this. We've kept your favorite friend Saturn according to all your comments. So Saturn is still here. So what do we have? Just an overall chart. Well, we have a lot of underpowered planets and an overpowered Mercury. So Mercury has so much going for it, it's just ridiculous. So we're also in a night chart. So we do have a night chart just barely, but we are in a night chart. And what does that mean? That means that your best planet in a night chart is going to be Venus. And Venus is having all sorts of problems itself, right? Venus is in detriment, which means that it's across the street from where it should be. So Venus is in detriment. Venus is a -4. Moon is a -2. That is going to be your triplicity lord, your moon. And then we have a malefic that's not really going to be a problem. The big malefic that's going to be your problem is Saturn. So we have a lot of interesting things. So let's talk about sort of what we see in the first house here. So the first house is the house of self, the house of self-knowledge and things like this. And you have this overpowered Mercury within there as well as the sun. So not only are you Gemini, but you're rising Gemini as well. So that I think that makes you sort of this a very, very fast learner. So you're very quick to learn, you're very quick to pick up anything. And it's one of those things to where you're able to communicate very quickly, so quickly that people that don't communicate in that manner may be a little bit intimidated with you. And congratulations on your 50th birthday. But since you're 50, you probably already sort of encountered this to where you'll have people that aren't quite at your level, and sometimes you'll have a challenge communicating with them because you want to get out a lot of information really fast and you want them to understand, and you're a natural communicator, so you're good at it, but you're so intelligent and you have so much information about everything that it's difficult to kind of slow that down or kind of, gauge that down to sort of a slower pace when you find somebody with a slower pace. And I think that's why we have this sort of issue across the street here in Sagittarius in the 7th, right? But the 7th is not only love relationships and your intimate partner and things like this, it's also other people. I mean, obviously we have the 11th for other people, but for now, we have the 7th for other people. And Mars sitting there, especially retrograde, and Mercury retrograde here, we have this combination to where you may have difficulties with love relationships, and long-term relationships have a lot of sort of infighting or a lot of weakness as you try to approach 7th house topics, right? Even though that is mutable and you're going to be able to sort of roll with the punches and things like that, because I mean you're probably at a genius IQ level. So it's just going to be an issue with getting information across, and I think you're going to intimidate some people with just how quick you are and just how sharp you are. And again, you need to get out a lot of information really quickly, and it's going to sort of take people aback sometimes. So I think that's why Mars sitting here is sort of, especially retrograde, is sort of that feel to it, right? So the worst planet in here is going to be in your 12th house of the hidden. So in this particular case, we have the 12th house of the hidden. And I think that you're able to notice a lot of things normal people or most people would not notice. So if somebody says something, if somebody has a weird look after they talk to you, you're going to just instantly be able to pick that up. And I think you're going to be able to see that hidden stuff. And that's one of those things to where the hidden is also going to bother you because you want that information as well. So I think that you've sort of delved into astrology and tarot and any divination things. You've really embraced it. You're like, I need this because I think you want that extra information that you don't have because you already have the other information because I mean you have a plus 10 Mercury. You have all the information, but you want that extra information. You want that thing beyond the normal, right? That divination tactic that's going to get you that extra information that you always want, the hidden stuff. And I think that's going to be sort of your weak point in a lot of ways as well, is this 12th house trying to get that or trying to pull that hidden information out. And you're constantly looking for the next big thing to get that out, get that information out. So we do have a -4. Is that correct? Yep, -4 on the best planet that you have. And the best planet you have is in, again, other people, the house of other people. So I think it requires a cardinal sign here, requires a lot of work. And this, again, this sort of links back to Mars, right? Mars, the ruler. But I think that it's a lot of work sometimes to get your point across and to interact with people sometimes that you just, you're just like, are you people paying attention to me? I have this information I need to get out, et cetera, et cetera. And again, that 11th house, that -4 sitting there, that is your best planet. And it's so underpowered that I think you're going to have a lot of challenges with people. And I mean, you're 50, so you've gone through all of this. You probably already know all of this. So hopefully you can sort of confirm this as well. So let's see. Triplicity Lord. So we have this sort of this first third of your life that has been a bit challenging. And I think maybe money related could have been a bit challenging. A lot of things sort of hit you and, not exactly the best times. And I think this sort of picked up a bit as you've grown older, but you're still having challenges because you still have that Jupiter is a -5. And again, you have a rough chart. There's no way to discern anything else. It's a rough chart. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things. I think that you would do well in sort of the 6th house, not only temporary work, but maybe in a medical related field, right? So maybe something medical related, I think you could really shine. And anything technology related as well, because you could just assimilate so much information. You could memorize so much, you could learn so much so quickly that something within the medical field would really sort of suit you because that's a lot of information to learn, a lot of information to memorize, and I don't think that would be a big problem for you. And the fact that your fortune is over here within that would be okay. And also the fact that we're sitting in a fixed area, again, would be just great for you in general. I think that's really going to be somewhere where you could shine, would be in a medical field type thing. It looks like we're talking 8th house. So you talked about inheritance, and when we wander over here into this inheritance section, we do have the moon. So I do think that you're going to get an inheritance that's going to be decent or nice, but I don't think that it's going to be anytime soon. I mean, just from looking at this, it doesn't look like you're going to get an inheritance anytime soon. That's just an opinion based upon what I'm seeing. So let's go to annual perfections real quick. So if we look at annual perfections, let's look at your sheet real quick. So here's your astrology sheet. So again, good planet, Venus, bad planet, Saturn. Your sign of fortune is going to be Scorpio, Lord of the hour marker. It's going to be Gemini, and your perfection sign is going to be Leo in the third. So let's look at this. So let's look at your annual perfection stuff. The best job times, in my opinion, as far as what I'm seeing for annual perfections, if you go through here and look at the transits, is going to be sort of this mid-August time frame. And because we have a lot of Venus floating around in there, and because of the way Venus is placed, I would recommend a female boss, if at all possible. To get a female boss is going to do you better, in my opinion, for just the best job times, or the best times to sort of just search around for a job. The second thing is you have this availability of independent ventures or sort of side things, right? I think in mid-September would be a great time if you're artistic, if you do things that you could make money on the side, kind of a side job type thing. Not necessarily a job to where you have a boss, but some independent venture to where maybe you're on Etsy selling some of your creations or posting some of your creations. If you're into that type of thing, I think the best time would be mid-September to sort of leap into that, or get a few products out there and on the market for that. I wouldn't spend any major money or anything. I wouldn't spend any money at all. Just post it somewhere to where you can just post your creations. You can just post your art and pay nothing, and people can shop and maybe buy it. But I think mid-September, if you're interested in that, again, I'm not saying do it, I'm just saying if you're interested in that type of venture, mid-September is going to be your key. So let's look at your peak periods. Your peak periods are going to be in the fixed, which we already established with your lot of fortune being over here in Scorpio. So your peak periods, we're going to have major peaks, are going to be in your 10th, which is going to be Leo, which, by the way, is the same house as your annual perfection, same sign as your annual perfection for 2019. And obviously where your lot of fortune is the 0 or the 1 is going to be Scorpio. So these two are going to be your major peak periods. Unfortunately, you don't have any coming for a while. Your moderate peak period is going to be over here in the 7th from fortune, which is going to be over here in Taurus. So let's look at your zodiacal releasing. And again, these are just my opinions. As far as zodiacal releasing goes, let's see, where did I go with that? So we can look at the Lord of the Hour transits real quick. Let's look at the Lord of the Hour transit. So let me get my pen ready here. So on, you asked about July. We are hovering around the second house in July with the sun. Well, the sun moves so fast, we're always around. But for making money, I do see this. However, as far as sort of interacting with people and trying to get people to, or selling yourself to people, I have this July 19th issue here to where we have other people in money square. So I don't think, you asked about July, I think July 19th is going to be kind of rough for that period. And then we have Mercury going into retrograde, I think sooner than this, but this is just noted. We also have, I believe, an eclipse. So July is sort of rough. So you asked about July. I would say, just my personal opinion, July is kind of rough. July is a bit rough. So now we sort of move your annual perfection ruler, sort of sneaks around all of these houses, and we enter October into the 6th house. So you did say temporary work. So again, we're looking at the 2019 ruler sort of wandering around and entering the 6th house in October. And this is going to be, here we have the 6th house, and 6th house also contains your lot of fortune. So we're doing the good old thing with a lot of fortune here, and I would think that that's going to be beneficial to you. Now we do have an issue with Saturn, but again, Saturn is not really overpowered, so I really wouldn't be too concerned. But by the time October rolls around, it seems that we need something. So definitely October would be a great place to start. Now, if you look at the peak periods, August is going to be good. Now, why do I say that? Let's take a look over here. But before we start that, we have a loosing of the bond. You have almost no loosing of the bonds, which I find odd. You have one in 2013, and 2013 you would have been 44 or 45. Something happened at 44 or 45 years old to where a loosing of the bond is where you sort of end one era and go into another era. Does that make sense? So something major sort of moved from one shift to another shift. And I think something like that happened in 2013, again around the time that you were 44 or 45. So I'm kind of curious as to what that is. Leave a comment as far as what that is. As far as peak periods, we can sort of sneak over here and take a look at here. So we started, where's my notes? So here's the sort of the summary. So we started a major one, which is going to be your lot of fortune around April. So April, we started a major one. Now we have a minor one coming up in August. And then we have a medium one coming up in January 2020. So again, we're looking at this August date. So I would say concentrate on August, concentrate on October, and I believe that that's going to be your best shot. Just based upon everything I'm seeing, that's going to be your best shot. So those times are going to be your best shot, in my opinion, as far as looking for a job and sort of trying to get back into the game and make yourself a little bit less miserable. So that is my reading. Let me know what you think. As far as perfections go, we're in a 2019 stage in the third house of Leo. So because this is fixed, I think that you're going to be better off in sort of a long-term job in this fixed area than you would be sort of searching around and trying to find something else. So it seems if I were just to say, what do you think about chasing this and chasing that? I'd really wait until we're more into a mutable sign, which is going to be your 2020. But if you are looking for something, August and October, I think are going to be your best bets. July is really a mixed bag, in my opinion. So these are just my opinions on what I see. If you would like a reading with astrology, please leave me your birth date, birth time. Time is important. And birth location. If you would like transits look like this. If you would like transits, please also leave me the state that you're currently in. So whatever state you're in, let me know, and I'll plug that in for transits, and then we'll get you some cool stuff cooked up with this as well. So that has been my reading. Please hit like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.